Mr. Hamburger, Chapter 1, The Robbery. Blueberry City, inner city gas station. Small-time robbery in progress. Fluorescent lights hummed over the cracked asphalt lot, painting the dusk in sickly yellow. Everyone's been in one of these places. The kind of gas station you only pull into when you're lost on fumes or one bad burrito away from disaster. Because you sure as hell wouldn't stop here to go number one. Ads plastered on every window. Some corporate slick, others Sharpie scrawled on water-damaged neon poster board. Trash littered the concrete. Inside, the products were old. The aisles were narrow, like the store had been designed by a sadist who hated claustrophobics. They had good burgers, though. Tonight, Chris was getting robbed by Troy. Everyone on the block knew Troy. Called himself T-Roy. Real clever, right? He was an acid class, lowest rung of the ladder. Spit, smoke, jets of burning green. You know, acid guys. Odds were he was after cash to score some boomsticks or maybe a neutralizing inhaler to calm the reflux. Troy was lucky. If Chris hadn't already used his summon earlier in that day, he would have been nothing but an acid stain in the parking lot. Chris could call up one hellhound per day. Weak compared to other summoners who could stack creatures like Pokemon trainers on meth. But this morning, someone mouthed off to him on the subway, and he burned his summon chasing them back underground. He laughed it off then. No, not so funny. Troy hadn't seen me yet. Good for me. Good for Chris. Bad for Troy. Normally, we all kept it cool, but sometimes people are assholes and emotions are messy. Tonight's real problem. I hadn't eaten since yesterday. This whole intermittent fasting thing wasn't working for me. Chris's gas station might have been a dump, but he made a decent burger for cheap. And it was right down the street from my place. Now here I was, starving, cranky, and watching a friend get robbed by an acid-spitting acquaintance. I wasn't going to enjoy this. First, I don't hate Troy, but you don't shit where you eat. Second, he looked like he was using. Acid leaked around him in a green, smoky haze, dripping down his chin like he'd bitten into an Alka-Seltzer apple. I'd feel a little guilty blindsiding him. Not much, but a little. The real problem here is that fighting acid still burns. My resilience doesn't mean I don't feel pain. Punch acid. Feels like punching acid. I could kick him, but I didn't want to ruin my slippers. I crept in, just out of his eye line. But I forgot the convex mirror in the corner. He didn't. Troy turned. I reacted. Goodbye slippers. They were replicas from that old True Genius movie with Val Kilmer. Little pink bunny flats. Well, now one flat. I loved those things. I Spartan kicked Troy away from the register, through the doors, past the pumps, and into the street. Bad timing. A dump truck nailed him, and then a sweet streaker pushed the smoking mess into the gutter. He'd probably recongeal later, I thought. A kid at the door live-streamed the whole thing. Fuck me. Not again, I muttered, burger in hand. Before the kid even said it, I knew the words. Mr. Cheeseburger. It's been 3 generations since the tumble. No one agrees on what caused it. Particle reactors, fusion, the singularity. Some say it was spiritual, some say cosmic. Doesn't matter. The gist is, everything is real. Your favorite cartoon character? Yep, here, now tangible, exists. Then just apply that idea towards everything. Every food, every god, every device, every imaginative force. Parallel versions of you. Teleportation, interstellar travel, low-interest banking, all-you-can-eat buffets. All of it real. As far as how people manifest powers, we're not really sure about that either. No observables could explain abilities or biological changes. Some people say it's purpose. Others say it's random. Not that it really matters, because if you have the means, you can be changed into anything you want. Find a wish, get a djinn to grant you one, although that's usually sort of a monkey paws sort of thing. Well, so are monkey paws. You could find a bioengineer or robotics care center and have yourself operated on to achieve the same effect. So, really, anyone could become anything with enough luck and opportunity. For me, it is what it is. My defined class came stamped as hero. I can lift a ton or so, probably more if I worked out, but that's not really my thing. There were guilds and ranks all around the planet in the verse, but I was never really interested in that. I like to teach. History, specifically. I have been doing it for almost 2 decades. From what I read, teachers used to be paid very little back before the overhaul. Compared to what they were paid now, it was a fortune. And it makes sense. Information uploads are relatively cheap, especially for the universal basic. A week of uploads to your brain and implants and you'd be good to go. I really enjoyed the storytelling portion of it, though. I always felt like context was lost by relying on uploads. Hey, cheeseburger! Ah, fuck. Another fan. Through a set of circumstantial, coincidental horseshit, my name had become Mr. Cheeseburger, Mr. Hamburger, Cheeburger, Cheesy Burger, Cheeburgs, Hamburgers, Burger Man. You get the idea. Most of the population streams everything. Attention and sharing is something that sort of keeps the cosmos spinning. After the overhaul, Earth was now on the universal map. New and entertaining beings from all over tuned in. In the grand scheme of things, we were still the new kids on the block, so attention was relatively easy if you wanted some. I never liked the idea of 15 minutes of fame. I wished we could just find 15 minutes apiece. As for the burger moniker, when I was more of an active hero back in the day, a streamer created an edit and realized more times than not there was a burger present somewhere around me. A sign in my hand. Someone else happened to be eating one. After they created the edit and pushed it out, no one remembered my real hero name anymore. I just became Burger Man. I hated it at first, but once people started buying me lunch and I got a corporate sponsor, it wasn't so bad. Turns out I wasn't the corporate type. I was let go from my contracts after violating their code of conduct. Whatever. Fuck 'em. Back then, I was better about going to the gravity gym. Really the most effective way for soups to push strength training. I could bench over 2 tons then. But there's very little use for benching in peacekeeping. Some people use the term crime fighting, but I like the idea of avoiding fighting altogether. You only have to misjudge how strong you are once to realize the far-reaching impact of the power you hold. I was a fairly low-tier strength soup compared to the big dogs. But to normal people, I might as well have been Captain America. Not to be disrespectful or anything, but I met him once. I think I could take him. Punk-ass cop wannabe. I always felt my real strength was my resilience. If I was Captain America tier at strength, there was basically no limit to the damage I could take. Downside is, I still feel all the pain associated with the injury and the healing afterwards. For example, if I was hit with something that would normally break someone's leg, my pain receptors feel the break, the swelling, the mending, and whatever else comes along with it, all at once. It sucks, but it makes me indestructible. So I guess my real power is that I can get back up more times than anyone else. Other than that, everything about me seemed to function normally. No crazy improved memory. I still needed glasses for things far away. And male pattern baldness, still a thing. After my fall off years ago, I took up teaching full time, trying to escape the burger mania. I dress down and try to blend in. It works most of the time. Sometimes I still get recognized like a celebrity past their prime, but it usually takes the correct context. Like Spartan kicking an ODing acid class 150 feet into a gutter while holding a cheeseburger. I sighed to myself, frustrated. I pursed my lips and smiled at Chris. "Fuck yeah, dude! Thanks for the assist! This one's on me!" Chris proclaimed, gifting me the burger as a thank you. "Why do you even like these things so much? They aren't even that good." He was right. They weren't. His burgers tasted like the old Cisco burgers from grade school. Pre-cooked, mostly steamed, probably some soy and liquid smoke in them. But the seasoning of nostalgia just goes such a long way. I liked them, and I didn't mind a free dinner from a buddy for helping him out. I just do, man. I'm gonna go catch up with Al. I'll holler at you later. Al was my daughter, Alexandra, but I had called her Al since she was born. Taking care of her got me through a lot. She was very smart, a side effect of her class, but I always thought she would be that smart anyway. After going back to teaching, Al had grown old enough to make her way in the verse, and she tired of Earth, and I couldn't blame her. The rest of the verse seemed cool, and the world, or cosmos, or whatever, was her oyster. Universal instant communication existed, but calling plans were cheaper and easier for family members. I had become too clingy a couple years ago, and she changed her plan. Now I had to call her using Ziggy, our in-home AI cleaning robot that Al made. She was right to put me at arm's length for a while. I was a bit too intrusive and involved in her life, and not enough in my own. She tried to explain it to me many times. It wasn't that I didn't listen. I was just dumber than her. It's like she had a giant box of crayons and showed me the lime green color, and I only had yellow and green. It took me a few years of self-reflection and understanding before I got it. She was independent now, and she loved me, but her life was her own, mine was mine. Still, catching up on her monthly call, always the best part of my month. My favorite 12 days of the year. I headed back to my apartment, picking up trash as I went. There were plenty of street cleaning robots and creatures, but it always just seems like you should help pick up anyway. You know what I mean? Leave it cleaner than you found it. Like the Boy Scouts. It always just made sense to me. If you like a place, treat it well, and it'll treat you well. I stood a trash can up and threw in my wrapper. Then picked up the little cleaner bot, set him right, and sent him on his way. The overhaul had given opportunities and resources to everyone who had neither before. Housing was affordable, homelessness could be gone entirely. Though some rejected the idea of homes and liked living outdoors for a whole variety of reasons. And they were allowed to. Why wouldn't they be? Whole universe full of possibilities out there. But not everyone wants adventure. Some people just want to be left alone and chill out. So they did. Mostly. My place was an old brownstone. It reminded me of old pictures of New York or Sesame Street, or that one Sherlock Holmes show with Lucy Liu. Nothing crazy with today's resources, but I loved it. I got a pint of gelato out of the freezer, grabbed a quick shower, put my jammies and a show on, and waited for Al to call through Ziggy. Ziggy blared, "Hey, Jesse!" The theme from a classic old TV show Al used to like for some reason. Probably because she was motherly and organized. She always liked the idea of taking care of others. It's the real reason she joined Life United. Anyways, the theme was her ringtone. She preferred using Ziggy's custom communication versus the holodeck. Something about her using two photons that move the same way made it better. I don't know. Al had what was called advanced hyperfocus. For all the abilities that existed out there, hers was rare. After the reconditioning, civilizations from all over were able to make contact, establish contact, or fully discover other civilizations and life forms they were previously unaware of. Because of the introduction of previously fictional means of travel into reality, there really was a place somewhere for everyone. But different races and cultures had different priorities. Some always knew where to go. Others, like us here on Earth, had a more difficult time understanding purpose and meaning. We were working on it. We're a millennia behind the others out there. Give us a break. Life United was basically a galactic Peace Corps, with better funding and occasionally controversial methods. They'd existed long before the tumble, after they had more resources and personnel available than ever. They would find planets and systems that needed help and deliver medicine, set up transportation, technology, education. They were really cool in theory. Al's AHF ability allowed her to see things in most subjects others could literally only imagine. She had created many useful devices to help us when she was young. Most of them still worked. Before she left a few years back to run the universe with Life United, she'd created a gift for me. Everything she did was over my head. Once she studied something, she had a photographic copy of the concepts, which she could refocus towards other subjects and connect missing bridges in information. Well, that's how she explained it to me. It basically meant she was so smart she could create anything. The gift she gave me was a small box. Through some mix of science, techs, and/or magic, she studied everything. The gift was a small box. Through some sort of mix of science, techs, and magic, she studied everything: books, kinetics, you name it. It had the ability to give you back an object you had lost at some point. Not in a figurative sense. Literally. Reach into the ether and pull out something you had lost. Once. The box was small, about the size of a tissue box, a little bit bigger. She was very clear with me not to waste it, that I would absolutely need it someday. Hyperintelligence was technically a side effect of her AHF, but the real side effects weren't given that same attention. Anxiety, depression, social isolation, and sometimes bipolar mood swings. To me, those were the real side effects. Al had found ways to mitigate those through various means and had essentially cured herself with her own inventions. Tech, magic, medicine, combos of both. She couldn't fully get rid of them or her AHF wouldn't be so strong. At least that's what she said. I knew she knew more than me, and she had made that clear, so not much I could do about it. Hey girl, what's up? Give me the deets! Hey Dad, it's all good here. We spent the last month out in Mersad, one of many Dungeons and Dragons themes world that appeared from the tumble. My data was correct, and they needed help stopping a lich from trying to ruin the universe. Every step of our plan went off without a hitch. She looked tired. More than tired. She looked like she had been awake for days and was running on adrenaline and caffeine. Her eyes kept flicking to something off screen. You okay, kiddo? I asked. Yeah, just long mission. We're wrapping up soon. She forced a smile. How are you? It felt rehearsed, but I let it go. Having an AHF class on an exploration vessel was basically the safest, most efficient way to operate in the galaxy. Having one on a combat vessel was bad news for everyone. There's this one book from 20th century Earth about a boy that commits a genocide on an entire alien race because of advanced intelligence. Pretty much the same thing here. Luckily, Al wasn't a psychopathic lunatic and instead wanted to help people. She probably got that from her mom. Me too, I guess. I didn't like thinking about her mom. She had fallen off a cliff in a car and died. I stalled on that thought for a moment. Nope, that's not what happened. The truth is she left because I wasn't available, emotionally or physically. But she had started that through years of neglect, and I caught myself starting to spiral. We just weren't supposed to be together. Didn't fit. She was a teacher too and had chosen someone else. After the tumble, they left. Chased their purpose somewhere else. I didn't ask where. Didn't need to know. Big universe out there, you know? Proud of you, girl. Always am. You look great. What happened to your slipper? I looked towards the door at my one pink slipper intact, and the other had almost finished melting into a glop of sludge. Oh, acid class. It was over quick. I was just helping out Chris. Tell Chris I said hey. Were you over there getting one of his gross burgers again? No. Dad? What? I like 'em. When you have a heart attack, your power is really going to make you feel it. Oh well. Dad, you need to take better care of yourself. Have you found a job? I'm still looking. I substitute teach sometimes. That was a lie. And I still have plenty left from the burger franchise. Also a lie. Plenty. Yeah. Lie. The truth was, I picked up odd jobs when I needed scratch. Sometimes people just needed some muscle, Well, look, never anything nefarious, usually just like moving heavy things or standing guard somewhere. I really liked reading at the public library, but that didn't pay and it was rare people showed up anymore. When I was younger, it was still a thing. Now, about halfway through life, culture had changed and the world didn't look like it used to anymore. And I did like to substitute teach, but the market for teachers was so small, opportunities no longer existed. I could have tried streaming and monetized myself, but that seemed like a fate worse than death. Well, Dad, I have some news.